Mimi has been living with me for just over 3 years since she was a kitten. She has been a family member in our household. I watched her grow up from a baby to a healthy young adult cat, and she lived happily and healthily as a cat life. However, something came up just after Chinese New Year on the 1st of February this year. Mimi starts constantly vomiting. In the beginning, I thought it was sort of normal because she occasionally vomited hair after vigorously licking herself. But this time, it was something out of ordinary. The vomiting was constant. Every few minutes, I can see only water, then pink color stain. She seemed weak and could not take anything. I took her to the vet on the same day after I saw the pound of liquid. The first visit to the vet was not conclusive. Mimi had a physical examination and received antiemetic injection. If she had food poisoning, then she would get better gradually. Although that night the vomit had stopped, but she still could not take anything at all. The next day morning she was still weak, could not take my syringe-filled water, and even I noticed flaws in her mouth. She seems even quieter and lethargic. There's obviously something more serious. I called the vet and brought her in the same morning. The clinic ran a few tests for her, including blood tests and x-ray. The clinic called to pick her up later that day and told me something stuck in her gut, but I suspect could be obstructed. Until then, the vet said they could do barium tests to confirm obstruction. So Mimi was fed barium food before coming home with me, and she is to have an x-ray the next day morning to see if the food was moving down the gut. On the third visit to the vet, I received a call confirming Mimi had bowel obstruction. The x-ray showed the barium food was blocked in her upper GI tract. A quick decision has to be made whether she is to be operated on or transferred to another hospital. I was sad and shocked to know Mimi had such a terrible condition at a young age. I could not think of complications the following surgery since I have seen that happen in humans. So I asked whether the vet clinic could offer a scope to extract the blockage. Unfortunately, the blockage was too far down the track, and operation was the only way of treatment. It's been 3 days. She hasn't had any hydration or food. I understand that in the worst case, sepsis, kidney failure could happen. I consented the vet clinic to do the operation straight away. So far, the only operation Mimi had was D-sex. I don't know how the post-operative recovery could be and whether or not I could take her home to look after her over the night, as she will require IV hydration and need to have anti-inflammatory and antibiotic to get through for the initial period post-op. I was worried if something going wrong in the night if no one is around, so I went to see how was the environment after work to be sure she was fine. She was in an enclosed little cage and with her little blanket covered over her to keep her warm. She was just had surgery and she was very weak and could hardly move her head. As nature instinct of a nurse, I wanted to check her surgical wound, but I stopped myself as it was too disturbing, so I withdrew my hands and covered her back. I am reassured she is in a quiet environment, although it's unfamiliar to her. But in the current state, I don't think to transfer her in and out would be a good idea. The next day, she will be reviewed early in the morning once the vet is on board. The operation found about 10 centimeter long hairball in her upper GI stuck in the gut. Mimi stayed overnight in hospital. The next day afternoon, vet called me, said she was doing well, and she started to have some food. She could come home to monitor and have full checkup the following day. So I went to pick her up, day one post-op. She was very quiet and looked humbled on walking. She checked the room on arrival. Although she had painkiller, she still curled up under the blanket and not moving for a bit. She looked rather grim. We dimmed the room, let her sleep in the kitchen, and covered her for the night. Food and water were placed next to her. She started to have little water and treat of her favorite. Her post-op review was really good. I followed vet order and gave her painkiller and anti-inflammatory on time. She looked a lot better on day 3. She likes lying under the sun, not curled up anymore. She stretched out to relax and recover. Cat, just like human, there is a soul on the inside the body, and they feel pain and sorrow just as human, although they cannot speak and so good at hiding their grin. When she's in agony, she only hide away under the bed and chair. I only wanted the very best healthy life, a cat life in Mimi with years to go on.